This is day 98 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored anonymously in honor and in the for the schus of Miriam Bas Sora. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Samach Siv Vav until Siman Samach Aleph Siv Daled V'ad Bichlal. Vav in Siman Samach. Because Rabbeinu Beis says to deep down, Yeshon Shem Mitzvah Tzrichos Kavana, Yeshon Mitzvah Tzrichos Kavana, let's say Ba'asiyasa, Ba'asiyasa Mitzvah V'chein Halacha. There's an issue which has caused celeb throughout the literature. The mitzvahs require kavana, the mitzvahs not require kavana. Now, kavana here does not mean kavana perush hamilos, the meaning of the words. Kavana here means the kavana to fulfill the mitzvah. Do you need intent to fulfill a mitzvah for the mitzvah to be fulfilled, or do you not need intent to fulfill a mitzvah for the mitzvah to be fulfilled? And the Beis Yosef says that the halacha is that mitzvahs do require kavana latzeis, the kavana to be yotze the mitzvah when you do the mitzvah. With Sifei Kosav, HaKadosh Baruch Hu even leave a pasuk in Shema Yisrael. He writes that somebody who says Shema does not have kavana for the first pasuk. Lo yotzei deicha v'so. He did not fulfill his obligation. V'ashar imoki ben libo the rest. If he didn't have kavana, filo yokari. But Torah magia partial seilu onas kriya Shema. Even he was just reading the Torah or fixing these parashas in the Torah. At the time when he's supposed to read Shema Yotza, which came in libo pasuk rishon, so don't get kavana the first pasuk. At kamashiro. Period var, meaning the meaning of his words. Sheish machlokas and a poskim. As machlokas in kol mishos a mitzvah tzur chavin she'id seidei chovas mitzvah v'siyazub. Anybody doing mitzvah has to have in mind that he's fulfilling a mitzvah in this activity which he's doing. Oh, im entzir kavah l'chamin l'tzei seidei chovas mitzvah. Or you don't have to have in mind to fulfill the mitzvah in order to fulfill its obligation. El afim lo kiven yotzei dei chovas mitzvah. You believe in kavana, perhaps you yotzei the mitzvah. He's bars of a simon. Tough Kuf Pei Test, if you Gimel, it's going to explain in greater detail later on. To those who show him say that even according to Pin Leiro, mitzvahs do not require kavana. Zel mitzvahs mitzvahs. That's when you're doing tangible mitzvahs. That's also how we can kavana's mitzvah. Performing the mitzvah tangibly is as if you have kavana to do the mitzvah. A mitzvah mitzvah has to do with speech, with verbalization. V'adei tor kavana certainly requires kavana. Below kavana, without kavana, avakeinu osa klum. As if you're not doing anything whatsoever. That's when Ben Yoin and brachas. Zayin. Ben Yoin Beis says the person mitzvah tzrichos kavana the das or poskim. Most know the mitzvahs require kavana. Zesh kaz sifei eino kavana sa mitzvah. But and now it's shown in sifei that you need to have kavana only the first pasuk. It's not the kavana of the mitzvah itself. It's something else. To pay attention to what anyone was saying. Therefore, the pasuk Shema Yisrael, which is the primary acceptance of the yoke of heaven upon oneself, you have to put it into your heart. Okay, you're not paying attention to what you're saying. You're not being makabel malchus shamayim at all. That's to be that there's something in the heart going on. It's like having that any intention. Therefore, if you didn't have kavana first pasuk, you have to say it again. But the rest of the evening kavana came and tables kular. Since you said all the words, you fulfill the obligation. But even because in tefillah, even if you didn't have kavana, you still don't have to repeat the tefillah, even as we shall see the first bracha. So tefillah is rachme, is asking for supplication. If you don't have kavana, how is it tefillah? The koshkin kriya shema and certainly kriya shema should be the case. But indeed, it is only the case in the first pasuk, not the rest of it. In the brackets here, he says, "I'm a grammar of Kandal Shem B'Shem because of Shem Kes and Mishnah. Feel Loki Vein. Let's say so. Our pasuk Rishon Yotza. Even in our Korana to be Yotze, only in the first pasuk. He was Yotze. But Chimish the son the Raisa Yotze the Kriyash Ma pasuk Rishon. This goes with their opinion. The Raisa you fulfill the pasuk the Kriyash of the first pasuk. Moshe Kasa B'Simin Sam Gimel Sif Katan Ches Ayin Sham. It's a Banan Answer Kavana. The mitzvah d'Rabbanan, according to these poskim, does not require kavanah. K'mo shekasav siv kan gimel. Banking das achronim. The achronim don't hold that way. K'mo shekasav kasavnu. Siman nun ches siv tezvav. V'datenu sham siv tezvav. Kula tezayin. Kula mina Torah. All of the psukim mashma are mina Torah in any event. Ayin sham beduk. Mishmur writes that even some people say that even the kavanah. Mishmur writes that there's no. In several places, it indicates there's no difference between the rice and the rabbanon. If they require kavanah, they require both the rice and the rabbanon. If they don't require kavanah, they don't require kavanah, both the rice and the rabbanon. Mishmur also writes that even kavanah Lord says is only impediment for the yeshali. That even the kavanah to be yotze is only an impediment in the first pasuk, which is unclear for the Arukh HaShulchan exactly what he holds. But I think they're the same thing. Let's see the next one. Ches. Since we hold the mitzvah tzilchus kavanah, at least in Doraisos, therefore you should have in mind with any mitzvah to be mechaven to yotze the mitzvah. Mishmur writes if you weren't mechaven, then you should do the mitzvah over again. But you should make a bracha. He also writes in Chai Adam that if it's clear from what he's doing in his kavanahs to yotze, such as when he read Kriya Shema as part of davening, or he ate matzah, or took a lulav at the proper time, even though he didn't have explicit kavanah, but the Eved Yatzah. The stama is l'shem mitzvah in those cases. Same thing b'yad tefillin. If you didn't have mind to do the mitzvah, still it's muchach mimasav. It's clear from what you're doing that you have in mind to do the mitzvah of tefillin. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. Ein tzacham l'shem mitzvah zu el stam l'shem mitzvah. Interesting enough, says Arukh HaShulchan, you don't have to have in mind to fulfill this specific mitzvah, but to do a mitzvah in general. Came before Rashi Reish Perek Beis Brachos because a mitzvah to kavanah she miskaven l'shem mitzvah. The mitzvah which requires kavanah means you have to be mechaven for the purpose of the mitzvah and sham. Kavanah hu b'leiv, and that means that you have to have kavanah in the heart. And you don't have to say it verbally. Even though it says the end of the fourth paragraph is that the zebach is shechted for 6 purposes, it sounds like the beginning of zvachim. The he amir of a pad that this requires a verbalization. That's because there's several types of karbanos. Say what type of carbon you're bringing. There it says the mistama nami kosher. It says that even if it's stam, it's also good. The stam lishmon kai. Because stam is considered lishma. Ain't lisholding came on tichos mitzvahs kavana. So therefore, you can ask that why should all mitzvahs require kavana at all? Even kosher gam stam kosher, are they more stringent than kosher, where even a generic performance is kosher? The answer is to be it's no parallel. The animal is already holy. So therefore, the default assumption is that it has its holiness, and therefore we're following through on its holiness. They now have to become sanctified. Kedusha mitzvah with holiness of the mitzvah. Now for the person mitzvah, ain't no klum. It is nothing. Rashi says there that stam lishman means omdin. I'm sorry, stam lishman omdin. Generically, they are in line, so to speak, to be lishma. If as long as you have not uprooted them, they are considered to be the done lishman ad kan lishona. He wrote that they didn't uproot their name. Klamar kedusha kodem is the pre-existing kedusha. Mashik shishami ishka. This is in the brackets. That which you ask question there from a woman. Obviously, for the purpose of kedusha, you want to draw parallels from a word from b'mikash isha to kodshim. So meaning resh kedushin. That's a kulayama hektish, where it says because they're being kedushin that marriage is like answering the woman an entire world as if she's hektish. He says there that it's not a woman is not omedes legerushin. Don't recall exactly what that's talking about, but I really don't recall, so I'm just gonna have to say I remember. Okay, so I did look it up. The Gemara is talking about why a get has to be ring lishma. If it's stumble, why can be stumble lishma like kachim, and the Gemara there says because isha stam isha does not omes the gerushin. By kedushin also would say the same thing. In other words, that's both of them on lishma because it's not like something which is already designated to be kachim. A woman is not stumble shem kedushin, not stumble shem gerushin, so therefore you have to specifically write the get or Kiddushin Lishma. Test. V'nogin mekabetz hatzitzis beishum v'aviyenu shlomer bakavos aretz. There's a minute to gather together the tzitzis when one says v'aviyenu shalom. Yesh nogin l'to rak shnei tzitzis shalafanav, which sounded like a few simanim ago. The opinion of the Arukh HaShulchan shmagim l'isam also. Yesh nogin l'to rak shnei tzitzis shalafanav. Only some people only take two from them. Shagil l'isam also, which is of course in Vayomer. Noagim l'istaka b'tzitzis. We look at the tzitzis. And we kiss the tzitzis well. Mitzvah, all these things are to show how precious the mitzvah is to us, and they are not impediments to being yotze. Samach Aleph, the comments of the Dr. Kriyishma Chavin Bo, how much you have to be meticulous in the grammar and the pronunciation and the kavana of Kriyishma Aleph. So at least we close Kriyishma kavana. Yad Yishma with intent, be'ema, with trepidation, be'yira, with fear, be'reses, with trembling, with ziyah, and with movement. A human king, when he sends his words to the countryside, and they proclaim his words, kulam shomim dvar be'ema, everyone listens to his words with awe and trepidation, although I'm not sure this is true nowadays. For Kavachon the name of Machim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but certainly in front about Kadosh Baruch Hu, the King of Kings. Every day it should be like something new in your eyes. It's like something you never heard before. That's very precious to you. That mind when you read the Shema, the first plus of Kabbalah Malchus Shamayim, to accept by himself the yoke of the kingship of heaven. And be willing, Lim Stor Gufo, to give over his body, Vinashun so, but serious nefesh with full dedicated devotion, Al Kiddush Hashem, to sanctify God's name. B'zel b'chol nafshecha, feeling like this nafshecha. It's the meaning of with all your soul, even if he takes your soul. Say about Smo, I feel Yasul Yisung Yidoi, may should depict himself, even they're going to give him great pains. Lo Yekshul Ben of Klum, there'll be naught in his eyes, because of the love of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Akiva, like Rabbi Akiva Shesarku B'Sara Ma'aseh Shematzal, whose flesh they come with flesh as a metal. The Korah Kriyishma, he said Shema. The Kame Kadosh Elyon, and so many great people, holy people. Sheb Eser Gassam, at the time they were killed, Usrei Pasam, or they were burnt. Sarku B'Kol, they cried out Shema Yisrael. Kasachus Marami Rudenberg, this is a very famous Marami Rudenberg. He brings down in the back. It's kind of surprising he brings it down here. Okay, but obviously he's coming to answer a theological question. Let's do this. Maram Rudenberg, Simatov Kuf Yud Zayin. When somebody has decided definitively to give his life a dedication to Kiddush Hashem, call me Sashelosimo Ena Margish Klau. You don't feel the pain. You don't feel the anguish. V'rayim Chulit. V'od Rayim Mi B'Sei V'Cholos. There's several proofs which are not brought down here. You should know that this is the case. We don't see any people in the world who, if they would touch fire, would not cry out in pain. We see righteous, holy people who are burnt on Kiddush Hashem. We don't cry out at all. So the Marami Rutenberg is telling us that there is a skula that a person who dies of Kiddush Hashem doesn't feel the pain, which is. As I say, it's very famous around Rudenberg. However, we should not have to meet this in practice and see if it's true. But certainly, great emotions can cancel each other out, and the great emotion of Avas Hashem could, I guess, cancel out the emotional pain. That's on a psychological level. It's probably more mystical than that, but that'd be a psychological explanation. That which I am command you today on your heart. Vayom yimshoch ala kodem. The word hayom could be read asher ochim tzavcha hayom al levavecha, or can be read asher ochim tzavcha hayom al levavecha. So he says going on the prior part. Mitzav chayom. The command is today. Like we said before, Shem Chol Yom. Every day you may not chadash yom tivisiach like as if I command them to you today. Don't draw it down to read it as if it says Hayom Hayom Alavavecha. That should be on your heart today. The Amasha Yom Lamacha doesn't sound like today, not tomorrow. You should make a slight interruption between Hayom and Alavavecha. And the trop indicates as well. Shayom Tifcha. Hayom is written with the Tifcha. Shuminam Absikans with the one of the types of cancellations which interrupt. The commotion tzich lafsi ben Hayom and ben Alabavcha. You have to stop between Hayom and Alabavcha. Welcome b'tchilas v'yem shama. So at the beginning of the second paragraph, tzich lafsi ben Hayom and ben Lahava. Mitam shinzbar. For the same reason as explained here. Gimel. Aminah kol chutz l'sisol amar shmaiso kol ram. The minhag all of Am Yisrael is to say the first person of Shema out loud, and it's today we are going to arouse kavana from being spirals. We see with emotion, being moved emotionally, activated emotionally. If you're not going to take anything about praying kriyas pasuk Shema Yisrael, they put their hands on their faces and say Shema Yisrael. It's a right, but Gemara Shomer Rabbeinu Kodesh came. Remember it says when we are not in the middle of the shul, it says Shema Yisrael go like this over his hand. Ein Sham. It's in order not to look at anything else. Shemon Omen Chamen, which is beaten from the Kavana. Masimi Yadi Mina Pim, put right hand on the face. Over Olive, Shalachad Yikatzer Me'od. The olive on the Chad should be very short. The Chetzrich Larich. When the Ches, you have to extend it. There's Shamir Kosh Baruch Hu Shamayim V'Aretz. So in order to give a Kosh Baruch Hu's kingship on the seven heavens and the one earth. It's Zero Meis Hachatotos Shebegarachas. The little chupchik, the triangle coming up at the top of the ches indicates Kamar Chayu Beruma Sholom. He's alive and flourishing at the height of the world. Yeshivur Kim, there's the seven heavens. The Imaretz and with earth, Haim Shmona, that's 8. The Murumas Beches B'Dalet. That's the hint of the ches and the Dalet together. I'm sorry, Murumas Beches. That's the hint of the ches. Sorry. Period. With Dalet, Yarich Yoser. Dalet should be even longer. There's Shur Shach Shov. Shakash Baruch Yod B'Olamak, the thing that Hashem is one in the world. Moshe Ba'arbru Chazolim, and is controls the 4 winds of the world, 4 directions of the world. Mishnah Bur writes, that the Avram writes, namely the O's, that the shear of ches could be the shear of a third note, and Dal could shear of 2 shear of 2/3 notes. So I'm going to say shouldn't be extended ches at all, but have everything by the Dalit, and that's how the Gur wrote in his biur. The truth is very hard to extend the ches. You can't say. I guess you can. Actually, it's not that hard. No, because it stops. It's but the komats makes it impossible to extend the ches. If you got it's like saying several cheses, so it's not so easy to extend the ches. The dalet which we do extend, I saw once brought down a sefer with that's come from Yaakov Kamenetsky, and it's what I do myself is to say it like a temani ches, because otherwise you can't extend a dalet either. A dalet, since we pronounce a dalet without a dogesh like a dalet with a dogesh, so it comes out echad, right? Echad, and you really can't extend it unless you extend the sound without the letter. But what you're supposed to do is say like a temani ches, which is more like a th than a d. That's where you could extend it. You should not go too far over the top. It says on the Arukh HaShulchan. There's emphasis in Dalet that it shouldn't look like a resh. I'm not sure it looks like a resh. I don't know. Is there Shadai Yomar Ben Noach? Local Sunshine can be Amirasan Bishva. That you should say not a chod. Yesh looking at Tosa Rosh Kafi Amachshava Ma'al Amata Arbaruchas. So they by Ches they go and Dalet like that. We should say Bill Machshava is okay. It's going to confuse you. Don't do it. Mishnah Berurah writes that you have to do east, north, east, north, south, west. Okay, but you should not. That's only an inclination, but not an actual movement. There you go. Not, because then he says looks like you're making a cross. Interesting. Okay. Dalit. Bivali ish kavaras naras pasuk Shema Yisrael. There's something very profound kavaras in Shema Yisrael. But in a simple sense, Rashi. It's like Rashi says, He's now our God, Hashem Echad, He's the Yosef, Hashem Echad, eventually be God over everyone. Hashem Echad, of course, everybody to call out the name of God. Plus Guntzfani. But then my Yom Hashem Echad, Hashem Echad. God, we want His name, we want. Plus Guntzchari. But that Kol Tikva Seinu. It's all of our hope. Shazis Kadavis Kadash Shmo Yisbarach. According to Arukh HaShulchan, Yizgadel v'Yizkadesh Shmo Yisbarach. The Teva Achar Pasuk Zamin Baruch Kvo Shem Kvo Machus Ambet. We have to say Baruch Shem Kvo Machus. Kloma Sha'os Yizgah LeKava Machus LeKava Begoli. That then the honor of His kingship will be revealed. Cheramim B'Chashai, we say it silently. Kiyato Enam Yizgayo, because now it's not revealed. Minechatei, because of my sins. Vabi Yom Kippur Mitzad Yom Kippur Sha'anu. Us on Kamalachim. Then whenever we're like angels. And we say it out loud. That's here. It's not. The world is not worthy of saying it out loud. One of the other reasons say it silently. Because Moshe didn't say it, and Yaakov did say it. Ayin Sham. He says He says the kavanah. The reason why that is true is also said with you. May Yaakov Yukum Tzadikim Ram Ram. Taste Yaakov the Rosh Tzadikim. They said it in a loud voice. There's Moshe and they made the Egel of the Chatoim. They did not say it out loud. Viduk. It's famous Shita Sagra. Arukh HaShulchan elaborates on it. That even though the rest of davening, they say the Shem Agnus. You only have to mind Adon Kol. When you say that in first pasuk Shema, you have to have in mind the Shem Havaya as well. Hoya Hove every year. Umahaveh Kol was, is, will be, is the saints, everything. And the Nefesh HaChaim has a great detail about the kavanah to have the first pasuk of Shema. Ayin Shom V'Tim Tzonachas, because Arukh HaShulchan does not seem to bring down that longer, more mystical and esoterical approach.